And welcome to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. Murph, it's the round 2 of the playoffs last Friday night and heading to the quarterfinals this week.
In my mind, Terry, the quarterfinals are the most pressure-packed because you're so close to that semifinal round, but still so far. It's a nervous time for everybody on both sides of the field, regardless.
Murphy, you've really eliminated some of your weaker teams, and I think the cream comes to the top. And I think that's the reason the quarterfinals and the semifinals a lot of times are your best football games, in the entire state.
There's been a lot of times when the team you think is going to win doesn't, and vice versa. And if you don't believe it, just ask the folks in Watertown, right?
That is true. Let's go ahead and look at Joe Burns at Gordonsville. Gordonsville with the big win over Joe Burns. They beat him in the regular season. They win Friday night, 41-14. Our KFC Taco Bell of Gordonsville and Smithville stats, kind of even, Murphy, when you look at it. Gordonsville a little advantage when it comes to passing. There was only 1 turnover in the game, so a pretty clean game, not a lot of penalties by both clubs.
Yeah, and that's a prime example of what you said just moments ago about the fact that they'd already faced each other once. It was pretty one-sided then, and that's one that you just hope nobody got hurt in, and you move on to the next round.
Let's go ahead and look at some more individual stats for the game. Matthew Albritton, another solid performance, 7 for 11, 106 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Kanan Musgrove, who seemed to get better week by week for the Tigers, 8 rushes for 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had 1 reception. When you look at Joe Burns, Ryan Dowling, 7 for 16, 57 yards, 26 rushes for 87 yards, and then Bailey Sargent, 12 rushes for 50 yards and a couple of receptions. But when you look at Gordonsville, they just keep on keeping on and having one of their most successful clubs, only 1 loss this year to Trousdale County in a very close ball game down in Hartsville. But when you look at Scott Clemens' club, they're peaking, seem like, at the right time.
If I'm Coach Clemens right now, I'm thinking we really haven't been tested the last 2 weeks, and I just hope that doesn't spell some bad news for this week's game. They've got a good football team, a very solid football team on both sides of the ball, but not having been tested very much in the second season, you wonder how much that may affect this upcoming game at South Pittsburgh.
Let's go ahead and look at some highlights of the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week. First of all, we're going to look at Kanan Musgrove. He's on a 16-yard touchdown run. He's number 32 there and makes a great cut there, Murphy, to get into the end zone.
The folks at Huff and Puff could have driven a truck through that hole right there. That was a pretty wide opening.
And then we've got a fumble return for a touchdown. The ball just kind of squirts out there, and then Kyle Adams picks up and goes the distance for Gordonsville. I think he's only a sophomore and got a very promising future for the Tigers. Then we're going to look at Musgrove once again, 39-yard run here. Very patient, and then uses great speed straight up the middle of the field.
He really paused and found the right hole to run through very, very well on that, the sign of an experienced ball carrier, I think.
Another big play here from Matthew Albritton going deep to Will Dudney and hits him right in stride for the touchdown, and that's 4 of Gordonsville's 6 touchdowns which were in the game, Murphy. And when you look at that, big plays. And that's really what Gordonsville's thrived on this year.
And opposing coaches are gonna zero in on that, and it makes it tough too when the run or the pass, either one, are equally dangerous for the opposing defense.
Let's look at some more team stats from the DeKalb County at Uffman. Uffman, a big win, 40-12. We thought this game may be a little closer. It was during the regular season, but the Bees just keep on rolling. Ty Duchess, 73 passing yards, 132 running yards, a couple of touchdowns, 7 tackles. Very solid game on both sides of the football. Jackson Rollins, 57 yards rushing, a couple of touchdowns, and then a 70-yard kickoff return. Also had 8 tackles. Just kudos to the Bees. They just keep on keeping on.
Adam Kane does such an incredible job wherever he is. He did a good job at Sequatchie County, and he's getting the most out of his players in Baxter, Tennessee, for sure.
They'll be definitely tested on Friday night when they travel to Red Bank for that quarterfinal game. For DeKalb County, Isaac Knowles sees his football career come to an end. 11 rushes for 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 receptions for 93 yards. For his trap, 13 of 24 for 120 yards and 8 rushes for 55. But Cab, another great season, Murphy, getting to the second round of the playoffs.
It's got one more game in front of him. He's a member of the All-Star team, one of the All-Star teams that will be played that Friday night after the Blue Cross Bowl at Austin Peay.
Let's go ahead and look at the Marion County at Watertown. Watertown just 272 total yards, 212 of that rushing. Braden Cousineau, the senior quarterback, 30-yard touchdown rushing for the game's only score with 7:26 to play in the game. And Josh Hackett, the defense coordinator for Watertown, has to be proud that his team shut out Marion County. That's a tough to
That's
do.
a tough task. It certainly is. I was at that ball game until halftime. The weather was a big part of that game. It drizzled, kind of a hard mist, if you will, and the wind blew really, really hard. But in the first half, neither team crossed the 20 or 25-yard line of the opposing squad. So it was definitely a defensive game.
Smith County at White House, a tough loss for head coach Matt Dyer. They score, when I say they, the Blue Devils scored. They're the number 5 team in Class 3A. They scored with 23 seconds to go on an 11-yard pass. A couple of tough calls went against the Owls, one being a 15-yard pass interference, the other being a personal foul. So 29 of those final 62 yards were by Smith County penalties. And then they score with 23 seconds left on an 11-yard touchdown pass from Rainian Blackburn. Just a solid performance by him. 34 yards passing, but impressive 24 rushes for 119 yards and a touchdown. Reese McAfee, who's really their bell cow back, was held to 40 yards, 11 rushes. Smith County held them to 192 yards of total offense for the game and gave themselves a chance. But a big drive there by White House. Smith County, Peyton Hicks, 55 yards passing, 63 yards rushing. Bryce Curry, 53 yards rushing, a couple of receptions. But when you look, Murphy, the kicking game was very, very key in this ball game. Their kicker would most of the time get it down, and the Owls would start an average of the 25-yard line, I would say, on kickoffs. On punts, Blackburn, the quarterback, averaged 44, 45 yards a punt on 3 punts. Smith County had about 6 punts and averaged about 26, 27 yards. And their average starting position, Murphy, was the 35, maybe the 36, 7-yard line. So that proved to be a big key in the ball game in a very defensive struggle.
2 words that coaches use, regardless of what side you're on: field position. And obviously Smith County didn't have it. I listened to just about all of your fourth quarter broadcast on my way back to the house Friday night, and early in the fourth quarter, I thought Smith County's going to win this ball game and pull it off. But with each passing minute, something would go wrong or whatever, and it was just too much of a hill to overcome there down the stretch.
But you got to give Coach Dyer and his staff a lot of credit, because this year, at 6-6 with the schedule they played,
Sure.
Still got teams alive in the playoffs that they saw on their schedule. White House, of course, heading to East Nashville. We'll get into those matchups in a minute. But, that's kudos to him and his staff. I think they've laid the groundwork, and only about 5 or 6 seniors on that team for future success.
I was going to mention that too if you didn't, but I will anyway. The fact that so many of those kids are going to be back next year is a lot for Owl fans to look forward to.
Let's go ahead and look at Cannon County at Loudon. Cannon County sees their season come to an end, but what a fairy tale ride it was. When you look at Loudon, 411 total yards, 276 passing, 135 rushing. For Cannon County, Harrison Carr, 25 yards passing, 53 yards rushing, a touchdown, and Dylan Taylor, 1 reception for 25 yards and a 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Hats off to the Lions. I think, when you look at Coach Daniel, I think he's laid that groundwork for future success for the Lions.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's a local guy, wore that uniform himself not too many years ago. And like Smith County, Cannon County's got a lot of kids back next year. They did have a large senior class, but a lot of those seniors were not necessarily starters, and there's a lot of sophomores and juniors that were on that team this year that are still going to be around for a while.
We'll look at the scores of the second round of the playoffs and preview the quarterfinals when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
At DTC, we're proud to provide the communication and entertainment services you need to get the most from today's technology.
For a limited time, get 1 month free when you add or upgrade internet with us. Fly at the speed the internet intended you to.
Get the technology you want, backed by local customer service from neighbors you know and trust. DTC Communications, your total communications provider.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master maintenance technicians, maintenance trainer, electricians, miners, mill operators, mill technicians, warehouse attendant, business analyst, mine supervisor, and other amazing opportunities. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and much more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
Powell & Metals Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Metals Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
And welcome back to the box score. Murphy Fair and Terry Collins here with you, and we're going to look at some Class 1A second round Sonic of Carthage scores. When we look at Class 1A, Cloudland beats Oakdale by a bunch. Coalfield to win. South Pittsburgh rolls over Clay County. Fayetteville over Dresden. McKenzie over Cornersville. Peabody over West Carroll. Don't know that other than the margin in the Clay County game, we kind of expected what happened.
Yeah, Clay County let us down. We were hoping they'd soften South Pittsburgh up a little bit for Gordonsville this week, but obviously that didn't happen. But I don't think there's a single surprise in all of that. McKenzie maybe, they're destined for a battle with Fayetteville this week, I believe. And that McKenzie team hadn't lost at all this season. They're a much underrated team. I think they're going to give Fayetteville a real problem. That should be a great game.
Only 8 teams left in each classification. We'll go ahead and look at the quarterfinal matchups. Coalfield at Cloudland, a big ball game there. And the winner will face Gordonsville, and South Pittsburgh winner. A game, the Gordonsville-South Pittsburgh, that people have circled on their calendars annually, it seems like, Murphy, for the last few years.
Yeah, 2 of those teams were among my top 5 in single A back in May when I was putting my magazine together. I don't think there was much doubt in anyone's mind that those 2 teams would be the ones to advance to the quarterfinals in the top part of the bracket.
McKenzie, as you spoke, undefeated at Fayetteville, should be an outstanding ball game.
I would love to see that one. There's speed galore on both sides of the football. Both have an outstanding ground attack. McKenzie's little running back is only a junior this year, and already a lot of Power 5 schools looking at that young man.
Lake County at Peabody, I would think that the Golden Tide is probably favored to win that contest. Peabody at 10-1 this year, and they're a perennial contender in Class 1A.
They are, and those two teams met during the regular season. Peabody a winner in that one, 30-6. So you would think that one would be pretty one-sided. But once again, more than a dozen games this week are repeats of regular season contests.
Let's go ahead and look at the Class 2A Sonic of Carthage scores from second round action. Oneida beats South Green, Hampton over Rockwood. Trousdale County, I can't say enough about what a big win that was at Meigs County, Murphy. The Meigs County seniors had never lost on that field. And Trousdale County goes to Meigs County and pulls off the big 16-8.
I saw those two play a couple of years ago in Decatur. I mean, it was a war right down to the final play of the ball game. Trousdale County obviously peaking at the right time like they have a habit of doing.
Forest over Lewis County, Riverside over Summertown, and Westview over Fairleigh. Let's go ahead and look at the second round matchups. Only 8 teams, as we said, in these quarterfinal games left in Class 2A, Hampton and Oneida. And the one that everybody is circled on their calendar, Trousdale County and Watertown. Watertown has won the previous 4 years in the regular season, but in the last 3, they've gone to Watertown and got the win. And there'll be a ton of people in Watertown on Friday night.
On both sides of the field, no doubt. I think all 8 of those teams, maybe Oneida the exception, but it's hard to say. They're under a new head coach, Jimmy May, after Tony Lambert went to the University of the Cumberlands as a coach where he played collegiate football. But I think all 8 of those teams deserve to be there, and as good as that Trousdale-Watertown game should be, I think that bottom one there, MAHS at Westview. They've both got great football players. Westview, of course, with quarterback Ty Simpson, who's already committed to play at Alabama. They have a football team?
Yeah, they Nick Saban, when you look and the quality of people that he recruits year in and year out, they just plug somebody else in and have another great year.
And Simpson gets it honest. His dad's the head football coach at the University of Tennessee at Martin.
Let's look at the Sonic of Carthage Class 3A second round scores. Pigeon Forge over Unicoi County, Alcoa big over Gatlinburg Pittman, Giles County over Kingston, East Nashville over Waverly, Dyersburg over Millington, and Covington over Ripley. Let's go ahead and look at the quarterfinal matchups. Pigeon Forge at Alcoa. I don't know that Pigeon Forge can hang with the Tornadoes there, Murphy.
No, Scott Meadows, a name that some of the viewers might know because Scott, I think, coached at Portland at one time as an assistant back when Roger Perry was there. But they'll have their hands full with Alcoa. That one will probably be the most one-sided game of the 4. The one I'd like to see is Giles County and Loudon. Those two, some of the members of the Cannon County coaching staff told me those are the best 2 teams that Cannon County played this year, and one of the coaches mentioned to me that Giles County is the best team that's ever played on that field at Woodbury.
That's a pretty high compliment in White House at East Nashville. East Nashville played a very tough schedule, Murphy. East Nashville, a big win over Waverly last week. I don't know that White House can go down there and pull off the win just because of their size and speed.
Alcoa hosting Pigeon Forge, that's a repeat, sort of. Alcoa won that first meeting 1-0. It was a COVID win.
Right.
So I don't know, you can't put a whole lot of positiveness in that particular situation. Covington lost to Dyersburg 29-22 back in early October, so that's got a chance to be good. But playing on the turf at home, Dyersburg's Trojan football team should be able to pull out a win, and I think Dyersburg now is kind of the underdog to be the team in the bottom part of the bracket to go to the Blue Cross Bowl.
Let's go ahead and look at the Class 4A Sonic of Carthage second round scores. Greenville over Knox Fulton, Elizabethton over Anderson County, Red Bank a big win over Macon County and Chattanooga, Tullahoma over Montgomery Central, Pearl Cone over Hardin County, and then Haywood over Melrose. The Tullahoma-Pearl Cone, Murphy, that's the quarterfinal matchup that kind of jumps out to me. It's a rematch of the regular season as we look at the quarterfinal matchups, that game in Tullahoma, and that was a good ball game in the regular season. Pearl Cone's only loss.
Tullahoma scored 21 in the first half, shut out Pearl Cone. The second half was 24-3 in favor of Pearl, or 21-3, in favor of Pearl Cone. A very tight ball game. The one at the top, Elizabethton or Greenville, whoever wins that's going to be playing in Chattanooga. You can just about count on that. 42-14, the score with Greenville beating Elizabethton during the regular season. It's interesting that the first game listed, the only loss Elizabethton had was to Greenville, just like the only loss Pearl Cone had was to Tullahoma.
Up at Red Bank, Murphy, that should be a good matchup.
I think so, both and pretty evenly matched too. I think good coaching, good players, good fan support. It ought to be a pretty close ball game.
Let's go ahead and look at the South Gibson and Haywood game. Murphy, you would think Haywood playing at home would be the favorite, but in the playoffs, there's no bad teams left.
Scott Stidham, the head coach at South Gibson, gets more out of less than any coach I know, regardless of class. Haywood's been to the championship game a couple of times in the last 3 or 4 years, and it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out. Obviously, Haywood, the heavy favorite in that game, but I think the coaching staff at South Gibson will make that game a close one.
We'll take a look at the playoffs for Class 5A and 6A when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition encourages our teenagers to be the positive influence. Stand against the epidemic of opioid and stimulant usage by joining the Youth Coalition #TakeBackTeam. 6% of Smith County students reported misusing prescription drugs. The #TakeBackTeam challenges you to stand outside the stack. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master maintenance technicians, maintenance trainer, electricians, miners, mill operators, mill technicians, warehouse attendant, business analyst, mine supervisor, and other amazing opportunities. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and much more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
We'll go ahead and look at the Class 5A second round Sonic of Carthage scores. A lot of those look as Powell over McMinn County and a shootout. Ray County beats Karn 63-48. Green Hill just keeps on rolling. They beat Columbia 21-17. That program, Murphy, is just on the rise.
You know, that Ray County Karns score, Karns has a running back that only needed about 29 more yards than what he got to be Tennessee's all-time single-season rushing leader. He was right on the heels of the Fleming kid that played at BGA several years ago. That's part of the reason that score is so high, 111 points. Nobody thought that game would put that many on the board.
Another big game, Pigeon and Nolensville, 2 close teams there. The Patriots get a big win, 20-15. Springfield over Memphis Central. And then Henry County over Munford. Henry County has struggled at times this year, Murphy, but they keep on winning games, and it has such a tradition in Paris.
Great place to go for a high school football game, primarily because of all the tailgaters.
I was going to say, Murphy Fair took me there one time.
And the menu is incredible. But Henry County had a first-time offensive coordinator, I think came from Arkansas, and through about 7 or 8 games, the Patriots were just not playing as well as they were expected to. They let him go. Basically, they're running the same plays that they did before, but they've got co-offensive coordinators now, and in the last 4 games, they've averaged over 50 points a ball game. So they've got that corrected, and a lot of people think they'll get past Springfield rather handily this week.
Class 5A quarterfinal matchups, looking at Knox Central at Knox West, Ray County at Powell, Page at Green Hill, what should be a great matchup, both those teams 11-1, and then Henry County at Springfield.
Page at Green Hill, that's where I plan on going. I was thinking about going there this past Friday night. I'm glad I went to Watertown, rain and everything. I got a chance to see a pretty good Purple Tiger team. Knoxville West beat Knoxville Central 49-14 during the regular season. That's a rematch, and as we talked before we went on the air, Springfield won when they played Henry County during the regular season, but it was 6-3, almost a baseball score.
Let's go ahead and look at the 6A Sonic of Carthage second round scores. Farragut over Bradley Central in a close one. Maryville keeps on rolling. Lebanon outscores Riverdale. I think it was 16-0 in the second half. I think that game was 17-14. And Chuck Gentry's club, Murphy, just continues to impress. Now a season high for all-time 11 wins for the Blue Devils.
And this is only the 3rd time since the playoffs began back in 1969. This is only the 3rd time Lebanon has made it to the quarterfinals. So Chuck has certainly done a great job over there.
Oakland over Cheville. That's the next opponent that Lebanon will entertain. As we'll see in just a minute, Hendersonville over Gallatin and Beach Big over Clarksville.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of rematches at the 6A level, or at least 2 anyway, and they are heated rivalries. When Farragut takes on Maryville, Maryville won that game 42-14 during the regular season. And then Beach and Hendersonville, those 2 schools are less than 5 miles apart. Hendersonville won 28-10 during the regular season. I think that'll be a great battle. 2 really good 9-3 football teams.
Anthony Crabtree just every year puts a quality team on the field.
Yeah, and well, I don't know if we saw it or not. It goes back so far, but he's a York guy.
That's right.
Who played at York Institute and was also one of the starting offensive linemen for Kelly Holcomb when he played quarterback at MTSU.
Oakland at Lebanon, a big game in Lebanon, and then Ravenwood at Summit, and Summit looks like they're on a crash course. To head to that. A lot of people looking ahead to next week's game, which they hope is Oakland and Maryville.
It's interesting. At the end of last year's regular season, a lot of people thought, well, Summit and Beach, they better win games now because they're going up to 6A next year, meaning this year. Mm-hmm. And now both of them are 1 game away from playing in the championship.
Yeah. You look at the quarterfinals and then semifinals. Should be some great matchups. Let's go ahead and look. Basketball got started last night in Hall of Fame action. DeKalb County in boys action over White House, John Sanders' club. Gordonsville and Greg Bibbs' club, shorthanded because they've got a lot of people in football, but they still get the win over East Robinson in Gordonsville, 56-55. Smith County, a 49-26 win over Red Bowling. Red Bowling did break their winless streak from a year ago. They did not win a game, but the game before they played Smith County, they did beat Mount Juliet Christian to finally get their first win after not going winless a year ago. Clay County, of course, everybody knows about Grant Strong and just how good he is. They go to Cumberland, go play against Cumberland County, win that 74-72. If you have not seen Grant Strong, I encourage you to go see that young man play. He's a Tennessee Tech signee, excellent player, and just a lot of fun to watch.
Terry, you've already done a basketball broadcast or 2. Are most of those scores indicative as to what to expect from those teams this year, or is it too early?
No, you would think it is, but Murphy, when you in the Hall of Fame action, see a lot of those teams don't have their football players.
Right.
So that makes a big difference, especially somewhere like Gordonsville and Smith County. In fact, had I know at least 9 football players that came onto the floor last night out of the 17 they have on the roster and 16 they dressed. That means a lot.
Did they wear shoulder pads?
No, and it really didn't get as rough as I was expecting. But Macon County, a big win over Clark Range boys, 80-67. Let's go ahead and look at some Hall of Fame girls scores. DeKalb County over White House. Gordonsville, a big win for Jake Dillard's club over East Robinson. Red Bowling Springs, just relentless. Smith County tied that game late, but for some reason, one of their younger kids, after it got tied, they were behind 41-35. scored a bucket, got 2 turnovers, tied it at 41-41, and then a girl that's, I believe, a sophomore on the team, Murphy, just goes up and whacks the girl with less than a minute to go and puts Red Boiling on the line. Red Boiling outscored Smith County from the free throw line 28-12. Wow. Which proved to be the difference in the ball game. Lacey Coulter's club gets the win. They did win earlier in the day against Mount Duke Christian. Westmoreland, a team in Smith County's district this year, that's an impressive win, 46-44. Westmoreland, I'm going to say, is the odds-on favorite to win that. It's only a 4-team district in Westmoreland, Watertown, Smith County, and Cannon County. But Westmoreland has been tough as nails in girls basketball as of late. They've even knocked off Upperman in the last few years. And then Clark Range, a big win over Macon County, 59-25. Of course, Macon County, the defending Class AA champion, but they lost a ton of people, and Larry White starting with a new deck in Lafayette.
Well, I was just going to ask you if there were a lot of seniors on that team last year, because generally, you can automatically give or need to give the other team 10 points when they're lining up against Larry White, because he does such a great job. But if anybody's going to put that much of a spread against one of Larry's teams, it would be Lamar Rogers.
Right. And we'll get the Gurus matchups when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
So, go check it out.
Deterring crime. It's the first job of a home security system from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation.
Let us help protect your home.
So?
A lot of nice stuff and an alarm.
Don't delay. Call DTC Security now or visit us online.
Powell & Meadows Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Meadows Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition encourages our teenagers to be the positive influence. Stand against the epidemic of opioid and stimulant usage by joining the Youth Coalition #TakeBackTeam. 6% of Smith County students reported misusing prescription drugs. The #TakeBackTeam challenges you to stand outside the stack. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. And one of our, favorite times is Murphy doing all his picks. And I know we hadn't kept up with him this year, but Murphy, once again, we've got a couple of local games that people are excited about. Number one being a clash of 2 of the top 5 teams in Class 1A, and that's Gordonsville at South Pittsburgh.
Well, the Pirates have got to be favored in that ball game. They've been the number 1 pick in 1A just about all season long, from the preseason actually. But they did lose their coach before the season ever started. And and they've got co-head coaches. It doesn't seem to have affected the Pirates at all. They're still winning the majority of their games, but they've got so much speed, and going to South Pittsburgh makes it even more difficult. I'd like to think Gordonsville, the local team, could come away with a win in that game. And my heart's telling me to pick Gordonsville. So since I've got a stint in there, I better pick the Tigers, okay?
Charleston County at Watertown. Murphy should be another great matchup.
Oh, I've seen so many of those battles in the past. Two very equally matched football teams, two great coaches, two great fan support. That ought to be a packed house at Robinson Field over there at Watertown this week. You have to go with what's happened in the past, though. I think Trousdale. I saw Trousdale play against Gordonsville, and Gordonsville couldn't handle them at all. They just had too much speed. I know Watertown's offensive line could make a little bit of a difference in that ball game, but I think Trousdale County, unless they fumble the ball a couple of times, I think Trousdale County is probably the winner in that one.
That was proved to be a big key, Murphy, in the first time those two teams met. I think Trousdale County led 21-20 going to the fourth, had a couple of fumbles that Watertown wound up cashing in and scored 11 points in the final quarter to win 31-21. But to get 4 wins over Trousdale County in the regular season to win the region each year, that's a feather in anybody's cap.
Oh, without a doubt. Gavin Webster does such a great job, and he's got a really good staff. They're going to have to do their best job against the visiting Trousdale County team this
Should
week.
be a great game and hopefully great football weather on Friday night down in Watertown. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 1A and 2A playoff picks. Murphy, take it away.
Well, McKenzie, as I mentioned, they've got an outstanding junior running back who had over 2,000 yards last year. I know Fayetteville's the defending champion, and they've got a huge kid who's a lineman that a lot of colleges are looking at right now. But I think McKenzie probably pulls the upset in that one and gets a chance to play in the semifinals next week.
Real Foot, Lake County, Murph at Peabody.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Peabody won by pretty good margin during the regular season, and their move down from the 2A ranks, where they won 3 straight state titles, I think bodes very well for them in that ball game. I look for the Golden Tide to win that one.
Class 2A, Hampton at Oneida and Riverside at Forest.
Hampton's playing awfully well right now. I think actually they and Oneida did not play, and I thought they might have played during the regular season, but that didn't happen this year. Hampton, pretty good football team, so I've got to pick them, even though they're going to Oneida, a tough place to go and win. I saw Forest against Cascade during the regular season. They're not a flashy football team, but they march the ball down the field really well, and they'll have to do that. Riverside, pretty physical up front. They've put a lot of points on the board this year, but I'll have to go with, probably going to have to go with Riverside in that one, actually.
Okay, let's look at our Class 3A and 4A playoff picks. A game that are, we talked about earlier, Giles County at Loudon, a lot of tradition on both sides. Should be a great ball game.
I think so. Giles will probably get the travel award that week. It's a pretty good hike from Pulaski to Loudon, without a doubt. But I think that's probably the best game on the screen right now to go watch. If you live close to Loudon at all, I think that's going to be a war between those two. A lot of people think Giles may be the favorite in that one, and that's probably who I'll go with in that game. White House at East Nashville. Got to go with East Nashville in that one. I've heard so much from you because they're in the same region with Smith County's Owls, and they seem to have handled all the 3A teams that they lined up against this year. So I got to go with East Nashville in that one.
Another great ball game. If you want to go down to Tullahoma, which is just right close to Manchester, not a long drive for our viewers, but Pearl Cone at Tullahoma.
Yeah, ought to be a dandy. The first one certainly was. Pearl Cone shut out in the first half, came back with 21 points in the second half, but the field goal by Tullahoma was the difference in that ball game. And I know John Olive's got to be really excited after a couple of 0-10 seasons prior to last year. Tullahoma has played exceptionally well the last couple of years, and I look for that to be a war. I'm going to go with Tullahoma in that one.
South Gibson and Haywood.
I mentioned earlier about the coaching at South Gibson. Scott Stidham, the head football coach, his son a senior on that football team, and I talked to him about last week's big win, and he said he was just so proud that he had a chance to coach his son in one more game, meaning this week. So who knows what may happen. Haywood's awfully athletic, but it's a tough one to call. I'm going to go with South Gibson and an upset special in that one.
All right, Class 5A and 6A are picks. Ray County at Powell, Page at Green Hill.
I'm going to Green Hill if I can find it. I know it's on Highway 70.
It's on Highway 70. Murphy's sitting up on top of a hill, buddy. You can find it easily.
Oh, that's why. It's probably green up there too, right?
Yeah,
on that hill, you think? That should be a good one, I think. Page has got an awfully good quarterback, has already committed to play at Colorado State. His older brother, by the way, is one of 2 starting quarterbacks at the University of Michigan, the McNamara kid. I think that'll be a good one. I think Page will probably win that, although Green Hill's awfully big up front. Ray County and Powell. Matt Lowe's got a very good football team. He's got the state's #1 prospect, a big, huge lineman. But I think Powell wins that ball game. They've also got some really good athletic guys in the backfield.
Kevin Creasy's Oakland Patriots going to Lebanon.
As much as we'd like to see Lebanon win that game because of Chuck Gentry, I don't see anybody getting anywhere close to Oakland all season long. Even if they win that game and match up with Maryville next week, I still think Oakland's going to be the 6A champion when it's all said and done.
All right. Also in Class 6A, Beach at Hendersonville, and 2 clubs that basically are on top of each other, those schools.
They're very, very close. You could probably be in a helicopter and see both games at the same time. They're that close together. But I think Anthony Crabtree may be in for another loss this year. Hendersonville, a pretty good team. James Beasley, the head football coach there, who, interestingly enough, he's the only head coach Hendersonville's ever had that played at Hendersonville. Wow. And he's got that black and gold pride in him. I think Hendersonville wins that one.
Now we'll take a look at the Division II single A matchups.
Ought to be 2 pretty good games. I know the head coaches at DCA and USJ very well, and they didn't play each other during the regular season. USJ has been at the championship game in the last 2 years. This DCA team may be a team of destiny, I think. They've done awfully well this year. I'm going to pick DCA in that one. Nashville Christian at Middle Tennessee Christian. And I think that'll be a really good game. I think Jeff Brothers at Nashville Christian probably will wind up winning that football game.
Okay, a couple from Class 2 AA, that's CPA at Lausanne and Davidson Academy at Lipscomb. I would think CPA and Lipscomb are the favorites.
It's been that way since August. No reason to change it now. Those are 2 incredibly talented football teams. I think CPA wins at Lausanne rather easily, and the Lipscomb Davidson Academy team. Davidson Academy has won a couple of state championships in the last 2 years at single A. They moved up to AA this year, and they're going to have their hands full with the Mustangs.
Division II, Class AAA, Christian Brothers and MPA, and Pope John Paul at McCallie.
McCallie won the meeting with JP2 during the regular season rather handily, 58-27. I don't see that being much of a ball game. Christian Brothers and MBA's got kind of a unique twist to it, if you will. Marty Uverard, the coach at MBA, and Thomas McDaniel, the head coach at Christian Brothers, most recently, were head coaches at Oakland High School in Murfreesboro. So I think MBA, although Christian Brothers on a pretty good run right now, but I think MBA wins that game.
Well, that'll put a wrap on the box score for another week. And Murphy, I know we've got one more football week left and a lot of great quarterfinal matchups. Get out and watch one. For Justin and for Murphy, I'm Terry. We hope you have a great Thanksgiving coming up and get out and watch some high school basketball and football, which is going on right now. And you've been watching the box score.